Hello and welcome back to the Cracking FAANG YouTube channel. Today we're going to be solving Leetcode problem number 15, thressome. Given an integer array nums, return all the triplets nums of I, nums of j, and nums of k such that I does not equal j, I does not equal to k, and j does not equal to k, and that nums of I plus nums of j plus nums of k equals to 0. Notice that the solution set must not contain any duplicate triplets. So essentially what we're looking for is three distinct values here in our nums array that actually sum up to 0. So let's look at an example here where we have -1, 0, 1, 2, -1, 4. So what we could do here is we could have, well, look, we have a -1 and 1, which cancel each other out, and we also have a 0. So if we do -1, 0, 1, obviously this will just sum up to 0, so that is a solution. Let's see what else we could have here. Well, we see that we have a 2, and we see we actually have two negative ones. So we could go -1, -1, 2, and that would also give us a sum of 0, which is what we want. And I think these are the only two triplets that we can actually form here. So relatively simple when you're actually looking at it, on paper, but how do we actually code this up? Well, we're going to do something that you can actually apply to the problem 2sum, and you can also apply to 4sum, and if they ever come up with 5sum, then you can probably apply it there as well, although it's going to be much more complicated. So the first thing that we want to do here is actually sort our array, and it's essential we do this because our approach won't actually work, and you'll see why we want it sorted in a second. So let's sort this, and we'll see that we get -4, we'll get -1, -1, 0, 1, 2. So now what we want to do is we essentially just want to basically try to build every single combination inside of our array. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 3 pointers, I, j, and k, obviously, because that's what we've been told to do. And we're going to put I originally at the beginning of our array. And what we're going to do is we're going to put j to whatever I plus 1 is. So this will be j because it's one index before. And we're going to put k at the very end of the array. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add all of the values at our indices I, j, and k. So let's see what that is. So that's -4 for I. We're going to add -1, and then we're also going to add 2 to this. So what does this equal? So this is -5. Apologies for the sirens in the background. So this is going to be -5 plus 2, which is -3. So obviously -3 is not 0, right? So this combination is not a answer here. But let's notice two things. There's 3 cases here, right? So either the number that we sum up to, it equals to 0, right? Equals to 0, or it's greater than 0, or it's less than 0, right? Those are the 3 possible cases. If it equals to 0, great, we found a solution. We don't have to worry about it anymore. If it's greater than 0, well, we have to find a way to actually reduce this. Now, this is why we actually sorted. Let's think about this. Our array is sorted. That means that as we go from left to right, the numbers get what? They get larger, right? They start small and then they get bigger as you go to the right, because that's how we've sorted it. And the inverse is also true. If you go from right to left, the numbers get what? Smaller. So we now have a sum that is too small, right? This is smaller than 0, so we need to find a way to increase this value. So what are we going to do? Well, we want to keep our I fixed, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to, now that we have too small of a value, we're actually going to increase our j, because that way we know that we're going to be getting a bigger value if we simply go to the right with the j. In this case, j is actually the same for these 2 indices, so we're not going to basically consider it. We're actually just going to move to the next one because we want to just consider the next largest value. Because obviously if we just tried one and then we're going to try the same value, we're not going to get a different result. So now let's see what happens with those values. So we're going to add them. So we're going to say 4, and now j points to 0 plus k is still here at 2. So that means we have -2. So we got a little bit closer to 0. But we're not still there. So that means that we need to increase j one more time. So now we're going to go to j and we're going to make it 1, right? So now let's do the math again. So we're going to say 4 plus 1 plus 2. This time we get to what? -1, right? So unfortunately, we still are less than 0, which means that we have to increase j one more time. But you'll notice that now j is at the same index as k. So even though this would work, 4 plus 2 plus 2 equals 0, even though technically that equals to 0, remember that the indices cannot be the same. They have to be distinct indices, which is why as soon as j hits k or k hits j, then we cannot have that as an answer. So now what happens is that having this I here was not correct. So now what we need to do is, let's just redraw our array. So we're going to say -4, -1, -1, 0, 1, 2. So fixing this I here was not correct. So now what we want to do is 4 is no longer going to be considered because we tried all the options with 4 and it didn't work. So now I will move up by 1. And now I will start here and we're going to fix it for the whole iteration. And we're going to do the exact same thing. J is now going to be whatever I plus 1 is at the beginning, and k will always be at the end here. And now we're going to go through the same logic. So let's try adding our values. So we're going to say -1 plus -1 plus 2. And this time we have 0. Perfect. So now we found one solution, right? So we have -1, -1, 2 is a possible solution. So now what we want to do is we know that we can't really do much here, right? If we increase our if we increase the j, then we can't really do much, right? So we could potentially try moving either of them in a direction, and hopefully that will do it. So in this case, when you actually have a solution that you find, what you want to do is simply just move one of them and then keep trying. And essentially what we want to do here is this same process every single time. So remember that there's 3 cases. Either our sum is going to equal 0, in which case we found a solution, and we can move, we'll just say we're going to move j every single time we find a solution. We could either move k, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to move j. If it's too big, that means that our sum needs to be reduced. So the way that we get a smaller number, because it's sorted, is actually going to be by moving the k index down by 1. If our number is too small, then we need a bigger number, and we're going to move j up by 1. So those are our 3 cases, and essentially we just need to try this for all possible combinations, and that's the approach that we want to take. We'll always start I at the 0th index, j will always start 1 index to the right of I, k will always be at the end of the array, and then we'll try all of the options that way. After we've exhausted all of the items, between j and k, so we'll basically have while j is actually less than k, we'll then, after that no longer holds true, then we will move our I up by 1, and we'll keep repeating the process where j is always going to be started at I plus 1 and k is always at the end. And that way we will basically go through every single option, and we will then figure out which ones equal 0, and at the end we just return the list of all of those answers. So that's the general intuition. That's also the reason why we sorted the array. Remember that when it's sorted, when you're going from left to right, the items will always increase, and from right to left they'll always decrease, which is useful for when our number is too big and we need to reduce it, or when our number is too small we need to increase it. If it's 0, we found an answer, that's the sweet spot, but that is the reason why we sorted, because we know that if it's too big we can just move our k down to get a smaller number, because obviously anything to the left will always be smaller by definition in a sorted array, and the same thing for this one. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, don't worry. When we walk through the actual code editor, it should be much clearer. I'll go through line by line, and there shouldn't really be any doubts at that point. But I hope this explanation was useful. I think that this question, once you understand kind of why sorting helps and how we move the pointers based on the value here, then it's really not too bad to understand. So what I want to do now is, I think I've talked for long enough. Let's go to the code editor and actually write this code. I'll see you there. Back in the code editor, let's type this up. Remember that the first thing you want to do here is actually to sort our numbers. So we're going to say nums.sort, and that will do it for us in place. We also want to define a result array to store our result, and we want to set our first index, I, to be equal to 0. And now we want to set up our loop, which is going to go from left to right over the array. So we're going to say while I is actually less than len nums minus 2. And the reason we do length of nums minus 2 is, remember, we need 3 indices here, I, j, and k. And if obviously there's not 3 indices, then we can't do anything here. So that's why we always need to make sure there's always room for the j and the k, which is why we leave a gap of 2 always. So now what we want to do is we actually want to make sure that we don't have duplicates in our solution, which means that if we found a potential solution in the I, what we want to do is we actually don't want to consider a same I. Remember that the array can contain duplicates, but our answer may not. So if we have an I and then we increment I and it's actually the same value, we'll introduce duplicates. So for that reason, we need to actually, when we increment our I, or when I changes, it actually needs to always make sure that we don't have a duplicate. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to say while I is greater than 0 and less than length of nums minus 1. What we're going to do here, we're going to say nums of I, while the indices are correct, and nums of I actually equals to nums of I minus 1. What we want to do here is we actually just want to increment our I. And what we're doing is we're essentially checking, is our current I equal to the last one? And is the indices valid? And it's important that you check this greater than 0 condition, because if you don't do that, in Python you'll actually wrap to the end of the array because you won't get an index error for accessing negative elements. You'll just go to the back of the array and your answer is not going to be right here. So you need to make sure that you have the correct bounds, and you also need to make sure that you check for whether it equals. And in that case, you want to increment your I to make sure you don't get those duplicate values. Okay, now that that's out of the way, we know that we always want to set j equal to whatever I is plus 1 when we start our second loop. And k will always equal the length of nums minus 1. So basically the end of the array. Now what we want to do is, remember, we need to be moving our j and our k pointers. So we're going to say while j less than k. What we're going to do here is we're going to say that the current sum of our 3 pointers is going to obviously be nums of I plus nums of j plus nums of k, right? And we can have 3 cases. The current sum can be 0, which is a solution. It can be greater than 0, which means that our number is too big, so we need to find a way to decrease it. And it could be less than 0, which means it's too small, and we need to figure out a way to increase it. So let's do the simplest case first, which is that cur sum is actually 0. So we're going to say if not cur sum, we're going to say res the append. So obviously that's a solution. So nums of I, and I apologize for the really annoying sirens in the background. I hate it as well. We're going to say nums of I, nums of j, and nums of k. Those are going to be your solution values. And now what we want to do is we want to, since we have a solution, we want to just move j and k up. So we're going to say j plus equals to 1. And similar to what we did with I, we actually want to make sure that we don't have duplicate values. So we're actually going to make sure that we move j up until we get a fresh value that we haven't seen before. So we're going to say while j is actually less than k and nums of j equals to nums of j minus 1, what we're going to do here is we're just going to move j up. Now what we want to do is we also want to decrement k, because we found a solution with our k, so we can move it down because we know that we can't reuse that k again. So we're going to say while k is actually greater than or equal to j and nums of k actually equals to nums of k plus 1. In this case, we just want to keep decrementing our k until we get a fresh value that's unique. So that's what we do when we have a sum equaling to 0. The other case is that cur sum is actually too big. And the way that we're going to make it smaller is by getting a smaller number. Remember that our array is sorted, so if k is at the end, then moving it to the left will give us a smaller number. So we're actually going to move k down. So we're going to say k minus equals to 1. And again, we don't want to have duplicate values. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically copy this code here and double check that we move our k as much as we can to avoid any potential duplicates, because we'll just end up processing a value that we shouldn't have, and it's much easier to do it this way. So the last case is that current sum is actually less than 0, in which case this is the case where we need to make it bigger. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to be moving j up, because obviously moving that pointer will give us access to a bigger element, because again, the array is sorted. So we're going to say j plus equals to 1. And like we did before, we can actually make sure we don't end up on a duplicate by simply moving our j forward as long as there's a duplicate. Now what we want to do is once this loop breaks for while j is less than k, now we have exhausted all of the possible combinations of j and k while we kept our I fixed. Now what we want to do is we want to increment our I, and then we're going to try all again the possible combinations of j and k now that I is fixed at this new value. And we'll essentially do that while I is less than length of nums minus 2. We will continuously generate all of these values. We will populate our result when we see fit. And at the end, obviously, our loop will break. And when that happens, let me just line up the actual functions here. All we need to do is simply return our results. So let me just run this, make sure to make any syntax mistakes because the indentation can get weird. And let's submit it. And hello. Okay, wait, what happened? Accepted. All right, cool. I was worried there for a second. Let's now get rid of this and let's talk about the time and space complexity. So for the time complexity, obviously we have a sort here, which in Python is going to be an n log n operation. But what we do here in our double while loops, since we're basically going for every single combination, our time complexity, so we have the n log n from the sort, but then we have to generate every single combination here, which means that this is actually going to be n squared. So the n squared will actually dominate asymptotically, which means that in the end, this is just going to be a big O of n squared solution, because the n squared of our double while loops here will actually be greater than this n log n. So we don't have to worry about it there. For the space complexity, we're not going to consider the actual result as space because we need to return it. But you may think that this is actually a constant space solution. Unfortunately, it's not. If you do a sort in Python, even though it's in place, this does actually require extra space. And in Python, I believe sorting is a log n space. So it's not free. I guess it is easy to think that it's free because it's in place and you think that it modifies it, but it does actually use extra space. So be careful with that, because if you said that the space complexity was actually constant, your interviewer might ding you on that. So do be aware that sort is not actually a constant space thing. So even though we don't define any extra space, I don't count the result as extra space because you need it to return here, like you have no other choice. So that's the reason why it's going to be big O of n. So time complexity, n squared, space complexity, big O of n squared. That's how you solve this problem. I think it's relatively intuitive. You keep one pointer fixed and then you move the other two. Especially with the sort, you can kind of think about it in that if your answer is too small, then you want to move one of your pointers to the right because that will give you a bigger number. By definition, numbers to the right of a current index in a sorted array are greater than or equal to your current value. And similarly, if a number is too big, going to the left will always give you a value that is either less than or equal to your current value, because obviously they can be the same. But most of the times you'll get a smaller value going to the left. So that's the general intuition. Hopefully that all makes sense, clears it up. This problem is quite fun. I definitely had this in an interview way back when, and yeah, it's one of my favorites. It will always be in my mind because of that. Anyway, I'm gonna stop blabbing because this video is probably almost 20 minutes long. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. If you made it till the end, let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel. If you want to join a Discord community where we talk about all things FAANG, interviewing, system design, you can have your resume reviewed by me, you can ask me questions, join the Discord. I'll leave you a link in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, you're a hero. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.